In a world driven by speed, noise, and constant distraction, it's easy to believe that silence is empty. But what if that silence is actually full? What if within that quiet space the universe is speaking? Softly, consistently, lovingly, waiting for you to just pause and listen. We live our lives racing toward deadlines, constantly absorbing information, scrolling through endless feeds, listening to 1,000 voices except the one that matters most, the one that comes not from the outside world, but from deep within and far beyond. The voice of the universe is not heard through ears, it is felt through the soul. To hear it, you must first learn to be still. Stillness is not just the absence of movement, it is the presence of awareness. It is the moment when your thoughts settle like dust and you begin to see clearly again. In that clarity, messages begin to appear. They may not be loud or obvious. They may come through the repetition of events, a dream you can't forget, a person who enters your life at the perfect time, or a deep gut feeling you can't explain. These are not coincidences. They are conversations. The universe doesn't use language the way we do. It speaks in symbols, synchronicities, emotions, and energy. And when you finally start listening, life begins to unfold in a completely different way. But listening is a skill, not a passive activity. It requires intention, openness, and humility. You have to be willing to know everything. Park. You have to accept that you are part of something far greater than your current understanding. That awareness alone is a doorway. The moment you surrender the need to control every outcome, the universe begins to show you a better path. Not necessarily the easier one, running through the park, but the one meant for you. That's when everything begins to shift. From chaos to clarity, from confusion to calm, from force to flow. Running through park, most people miss the signs because they expect answers to look a certain way. They think if something isn't loud or dramatic, the park, it isn't important. But the universe rarely works through drama, it works through depth. It asks you to slow down so you can go further, running through the park. It asks you to stop forcing so you can start aligning. When something doesn't feel right, that's a signal. When you keep getting the same lesson over and over, that's a message. When something inspires you beyond logic, that's a calling. Running through the park, are you paying attention? When you begin to listen deeply, you'll notice how everything is connected. That painful breakup you thought broke you was actually redirecting you to healing. That job you didn't get made space for something greater. Illness or struggle woke you up to your true strength. None of it was random. All of it was communication. The universe doesn't punish. It redirects. It doesn't ignore. It instructs. It doesn't confuse. It clarifies. But you must be listening, running the park, not just with your ears, but with your whole being. The beauty of this journey is that you don't have to do anything extraordinary to begin. You simply have to pause, close your deeply, reflect, journal, walk in nature, spend time in silence, ask questions, and be willing to receive the answers in unexpected ways. Trust that what you need will show up, not always in the form you want, always in the form you need. And as you keep listening, you begin to live not from fear, but from flow, not from reaction, but from wisdom. The universe is not silent. It is always speaking to your soul, to your mind, to your path. And if you're quiet enough, still enough, running through humble enough, you will hear it. Your journey will make sense. Your steps will find rhythm. And your life will align with a power greater than anything you could have created on your own. The universe speaks. Now is the time to listen. Comes a time in everyone's life when external noise becomes unbearable. Not just the noise of traffic or crowded places, but the inner noise of confusion, doubt, and endless thoughts. And through the park, and it's in that overwhelming hum of uncertainty that many begin to seek something deeper, something wiser. What most don't realize is that the answers we seek outside have always existed inside and around us. The universe has been communicating from the very beginning. Running the park, the problem is not that the universe doesn't speak. It's that we've forgotten how to listen. The truth is, everything around you is feedback. Every person you meet, every challenge you face, every unexpected detour, every emotion that rises within you, they're not random. They are parts of a grand conversation between you and the universe. But to tune into that conversation, you have to stop trying to control the volume of life and start learning how to hear the frequency of truth. Frequency isn't loud. It's subtle. It lives in still moments and quiet reflections. It emerges in silence, not noise. Look around you. Nature is speaking. Your body is speaking. Your thoughts, your dreams, even your struggles are speaking. The timing of events running through a park, the delay of a goal, the people who leave and the ones who stay, these are not meaningless occurrences. They are woven with purpose. Running the park, and if you begin to notice the patterns, if you start to ask, what is this trying to show me? Instead of, why is this happening to me? You'll begin to understand the language of the universe. There is no such thing as a coincidence. When you meet someone who feels familiar, when you keep seeing the same sign over and over, when a deep instinct tells you to move in a certain direction. Listen, that's not chance. That's communication. The universe uses patterns as punctuation marks, repeats what we ignore. It amplifies what we resist. And when we finally surrender and accept its guidance, it begins to unfold clarity in ways we couldn't have planned. But listening to the universe requires humility. It means letting go of your ego's desire to have all the answers. Running through the park. It means accepting that life isn't always going to look the way you imagined. And that's a good thing. Through the park, because the universe's plan is bigger than your preferences. Its wisdom is older than your experience. Running, and its timing is more perfect than your impatience can understand. Many people spend their whole lives chasing something they can't define. A sense of peace, purpose, or fulfillment. What they don't realize is that the chase itself is what blocks the message. Because when you are constantly rushing, achieving, comparing and competing, you disconnect from the present moment, and the present moment is where the universe lives. It's only when you pause, breathe, park, and become aware that you can hear the message meant for you. Intuition is one of the most powerful tools the universe uses to speak to us. It's the feeling in your gut that something isn't right. It's the quiet nudge that encourages you to try, to leave, to stay, to speak. Intuition doesn't shout, it whispers. But those whispers can change the course of your life if you're willing to listen. The more you ignore it, the softer it becomes. The more you follow it, the clearer it gets. You are not separate from the universe. Running through the park, you are part of it, and it is always trying to guide you back to alignment, not through force, but through flow. So start to listen. Pay attention to how your body feels when you walk into a room. Notice the patterns in your emotions. Reflect on the events that keep repeating in your life. Ask deeper questions. Create moments of silence in your day, and in those moments, you will begin to hear it, the gentle, unwavering voice of the universe. It is not outside of you. It speaks through you. And once you hear it, you will never feel lost again. Every moment of your life is part of a conversation. Whether you realize it or not, something greater than you is constantly guiding, teaching, and supporting you. It doesn't use words the way we do. It doesn't send instructions in an email or shout in your face. The universe speaks in a different language, a language of signs, symbols, energy, emotions, and timing. And the only way to understand this language is to stop, be still, and truly listen. Most people live their lives in reaction mode. They wake up, rush through the day, manage tasks, solve problems, and collapse into sleep only to repeat the cycle again. In that rush, they miss the subtle yet powerful messages life is offering them. They see setbacks as failures, delays as frustrations, and silence as emptiness. But none of these are random. The setback might be protection. The delay might be preparation. The silence might be the answer itself, running through the park. If you want to live in alignment with something greater, you must start by shifting your perception. Life isn't happening, so it's happening for you. Every situation, every encounter, every emotion is part of your instruction running the park. But instruction without attention is wasted. The universe is constantly offering you guidance. You must be willing to listen. Not with your ears, but with your awareness. Listening to the universe means becoming present. It means developing a sensitivity to what most people ignore. It's noticing how you feel in certain environments, running through the park. It's recognizing when things seem to flow effortlessly and when they feel forced. It's observing repeated patterns. Perhaps you keep facing the same problem in different ways, or different people deliver the same message. These repetitions are not accidents. They are the universe's way of highlighting something you've yet to understand. Your body, too, is part of this conversation. Fatigue, anxiety, restlessness, these are not just medical symptoms. Often, they are spiritual signals. They're your internal compass, warning you that something is off. The more you ignore these signs, the louder they become. And eventually, if you don't listen, life will force you to. But what if you didn't wait until crisis? What if you trained yourself to hear the whispers before they became screams? One of the most powerful tools in this journey is solitude through the park. Solitude isn't loneliness. It's the sacred space where you reconnect with your intuition. Park, when you step away from distractions and create time for reflection, meditation, journaling, or simply walking in silence, you allow the noise to fade. And as the noise fades, something miraculous happens. You begin to hear the messages that were always there. Insights arise. Clarity appears. You begin to feel what's true. Intuition is the language of the universe within you. It's not logical, yet it's often more accurate than your mind. Have you ever made a decision that felt right, even though it didn't make sense, and it turned out to be perfect? That was intuition through the park. It's the channel through which the universe communicates its direction, but it only works when you trust it. The more you doubt it, the more disconnected you become that natural guidance system. It's also important to the understanding doesn't that always mean immediate action. Sometimes the message is to wait, to observe, to allow things to unfold. We live in a culture that glorifies doing, but the universe often invites being. The space between actions is where wisdom grows. That pause, breath, the moment of awareness. It's sacred. You are not just a passenger in this life. You are a co-creator, but co-creation only happens when you listen to your partner in this process. The universe. When you listen deeply, life becomes less about struggle and more about flow. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop fearing and start trusting. And in that shift, everything begins to align. So don't wait for a breakdown to finally hear the breakthrough. Wait for a storm to recognize the signs. The universe is already speaking. The only question is, will you be still enough, open enough, running the park, and brave enough to truly listen? There is a rhythm to life that's often missed by those who move too fast. Through the park, we grow up believing that answers come from outside, from teachers, from books, from experts. But the greatest teacher of all is life itself. And life speaks through the universe. It doesn't speak with a loud voice or dramatic events all the time. Sometimes it whispers through your intuition, nudges through your emotions, and reveals itself in the things you dismiss as coincidence. But those coincidences are not meaningless. They are messages. Messages from a universe that is always in conversation with you. To truly hear what is being said, you must learn to listen in a new way. Not with ears alone, but with your entire awareness. This means slowing down, not just physically, but mentally. Our thoughts move quickly, chasing fears, comparing outcomes, and clinging to expectations. That speed creates noise, and in that noise we miss what the universe is gently trying to say. Stillness is not just a spiritual ideal, it is a necessary tool for tuning into a deeper level of understanding. But by paying attention to repetition, when something keeps appearing in your life, an idea, a symbol, a feeling, a challenge, it's not a coincidence. Repetition is the universe underlining something important. Maybe you keep hearing a phrase from different people, or a certain number follows you wherever you go. Maybe a dream keeps returning, or a problem keeps showing up in different forms. These are not random. These are keys to unlock deeper awareness. The more in tune you become, the more you'll notice that life is guiding you, not with maps, but with signs. And signs don't always make sense at first. Require faith. They require patience. It might be a missed opportunity that feels like rejection, but later turns out to be redirection, running the park. It might be an unexpected encounter that shifts the course of your thinking through the park. It might even be a setback that forces you to grow in ways you wouldn't have chosen on your own. Each of these is the universe offering a nudge, sometimes soft, sometimes firm, but always purposeful, running through the park. Listening also requires you to trust your own feelings more deeply. We've been conditioned to seek validation from others, to doubt our instincts unless someone else agrees. But the universe speaks through the language of intuition. That gut feeling, sense of knowing, that unexplainable pull toward or away from something. That is wisdom in motion. When you learn to trust that inner voice, you stop needing permission to follow your truth. One of the reasons people struggle to hear the universe is because they are too attached to how they think life should unfold, running the park. They cling to expectations, to timelines, to outcomes they've imagined. The universe doesn't always follow your plan. It follows your purpose. And purpose often requires surrender. Surrender not in weakness, in openness. When you surrender control, you make space for alignment. You stop forcing life and begin flowing with it. Though there is also great wisdom in silence. Not just the silence around you, but the silence within. Create space in your day where nothing is demanded of you. No goals, no performance, no pressure. In those quiet moments, insights rise to the surface. Ideas emerge, feelings clarify. The universe needs that space to reach you. Without it, the message gets lost in the noise. You were never meant to figure everything out on your own. You are meant to be guided. Not by luck, not by chance, but by a force that is always watching, loving, always leading. The question is not whether the universe is speaking. It is. The real question is, are you listening with your full presence? When you begin to truly listen, life softens. Confusion fades. Decisions become clear. Paths begin to light up. And slowly, gently, you realize that you are not alone on this journey. You are being led by a voice that never stopped speaking. You just needed the courage to be still and hear it. Every person, at some point, reaches a moment in life when nothing seems to make sense. You question your direction. You wonder why things aren't working out, and deep inside there's a silent plea for guidance. What if that guidance has always been there, not in the form of a person or a book, but in the form of life itself? The universe is not distant. It is not silent. It's speaking to you constantly, not in noise, but in presence. But to hear it, you must develop a new kind of listening. We are trained to hear words, but we are not taught how to listen to meaning. We listen to respond, not to understand, running through the park. And when it comes to the universe, this habit of rushed interpretation causes us to miss its voice entirely. The universe does not speak through arguments or explanations. It speaks through alignment, timing, energy, and reflection. If you want to truly understand what life is trying to tell you, you have to step out of your usual mindset and step into awareness. Begin by noticing how life flows when you are in the right space. There are days when everything seems to fall into place without effort. Conversations feel easy, ideas come naturally running through, and you feel deeply connected. That's not coincidence. That's alignment. That's the universe saying, this is your path. On the other hand, there are days when everything feels like an uphill battle. You feel resistance, frustration, running through the park, and confusion. These moments are just important. They are the universe's way of telling you, pause, reflect. There's something you're not seeing. Listening also means observing without judgment. Often, we are too quick to label experiences as good or bad, right or wrong. But in doing so, we miss the lesson hidden inside them. A painful loss might carry the seed of your greatest transformation. A detour might lead you to an opportunity you never imagined. Even failure can be a doorway to a deeper strength. The universe doesn't operate by our narrow definitions of success running through the park. It operates through truth, growth, and purpose. To hear the universe clearly, you must slow down. Silence isn't just the absence of sound, it is the presence of depth. When you are constantly busy, distracted, or chasing the next thing, your inner clarity becomes foggy. But when you take time to be still, to breathe, to reflect, to simply be, you begin to reconnect with a deeper intelligence. In that space, insights come without effort. Solutions appear without force. The answers you've been searching for start to surface, not because you pushed harder, but because you finally allowed yourself to listen. Another important aspect of listening is trust. The universe rarely gives you the full picture all at once. It gives you the next step, the next insight, the next challenge to overcome. And it requires you to trust that even when you can't see the entire path, you are still being guided. That trust builds strength. It builds faith. Not in something outside of you, but in the wisdom that exists within you, connected to everything around you. Also remember, the universe doesn't just speak in signs and symbols. It speaks through people. Sometimes a stranger says exactly what you needed to hear. Sometimes a friend challenges you in a way that shakes your comfort. Sometimes the right mentor shows up at just the right moment. Dismiss these as luck. They are answers wrapped in human form. They are part of the cosmic design moving around and through your life. So ask yourself, when was the last time you truly listened? Not just to others, but to life itself. When did you last create space for stillness, for observation, for trust? Because in that space lies the most powerful voice of all, the voice of the universe. And once you learn to hear it, you will no longer move through life blindly. You will walk with purpose, led not by fear, but by wisdom. There is a deep intelligence woven into the fabric of existence. An intelligence that connects everything, orchestrates timing, and speaks in ways that transcend language. Most people overlook it because they expect life's answers to arrive through logic, loudness, or linear explanations. But the universe speaks in a much more refined way. It speaks in silence, in stillness, and in the subtle rhythms of your life. To truly hear it, you must shift from looking outward to tuning inward. You may have noticed how life has a way of repeating itself. Patterns arise. The same types of challenges reappear through the park. Certain people seem to return in different forms. You find yourself in situations that feel eerily familiar. These repetitions are not accidental. They are mirrors reflecting the parts of you that need attention, healing, or change. They are part of a universal dialogue designed specifically for your growth. But you will only decode these messages if you are willing to listen with more than just your ears. This kind of listening begins with presence, running through the park. In today's world, presence is rare. We are often mentally elsewhere, planning, regretting, scrolling, comparing. And in this distracted state, the messages of the universe go unnoticed. But when you bring your full attention to the now, everything becomes a messenger. The stranger's words, the way the sunlight hits your face, the feeling in your chest when you walk into a room, all of it starts to take on meaning. Presence makes you more receptive, and receptivity makes you more connected. The more connected you are, the easier it becomes to sense when you're aligned. And when you're not, alignment is that feeling of deep peace. Even in uncertainty, it's when your actions feel honest, your decisions feel natural, and your path, though unknown, feels right. Misalignment, in contrast, shows up as anxiety, restlessness, and emotional fatigue. These emotional signals are not flaws. They are internal guidance systems. The universe is not outside of you trying to get in, inside of you trying to rise. Listening to the universe also means letting go of control. As humans, we often want everything planned, predictable, and guaranteed. But control is a barrier to intuition. The more you try to force life to fit your expectations, the more you block the messages trying to guide you towards something better. Control says, I know what's best. Listening says, I'm to what's true. When you let go, you don't fall into chaos, you fall into clarity. And that clarity is what creates peace. Sometimes the universe speaks by closing doors. It removes what's not meant for you, not as punishment, but as redirection. A relationship ends, a job slips away, a plan crumbles. In the moment, it feels like loss. But often, those moments of loss are life-making space, running through the park. It's the universe clearing the path for something more aligned. Only by listening without resistance can you see the wisdom in what felt like a setback. Listening is also an act of courage. Because when you hear what the universe is truly saying, you may be called to change, to leave what's familiar, to rise into your purpose, to say no when it's easier to say yes. But in that courageous listening, you reclaim your power. You stop living by default and begin in living by design. Not a design you control, but one you co-create with life itself. Create space each day to be quiet, to breathe, to feel, to reflect. These moments are not wasted, they are sacred. They are the bridges that connect you to the wisdom that has always been speaking. Park. And when you listen, truly listen, you won't just hear guidance, you'll feel alignment, you'll sense direction, you'll begin to recognize that you were never alone. The universe has always been speaking. Now it's your time to respond. With awareness, with trust, and with action. There is a language beyond words, a communication that surpasses speech. It is not taught in schools, nor found in books, yet is always present, always active, and always available to those who are open. This is the language of the universe. It speaks to you in the quiet moments, in the stillness between your thoughts, and in the rhythm of your life. You don't need special tools or titles to understand it. What you need is willingness. The willingness to slow down, to observe, and most importantly, to trust what you feel. Life is never truly silent. The universe is always offering signs, signals, and synchronicities to guide you. When you feel something in your heart and can't explain it logically, not confusion, it's deeper intelligence. When you encounter repeating numbers, unexpected opportunities, or familiar patterns in unfamiliar places, that's not randomness, it's alignment. The more aware you become, the more obvious these moments start to feel. It's not magic, it's presence. The signs were always there. You were just too distracted to notice. In this modern world, distraction has become the default. Our senses are overwhelmed, our minds cluttered with endless information. And in this state of constant consumption, we forget the most important skill of all, listening. Not just listening to others, but listening to life. Listening to your body when it says rest, running through the park, listening to your emotions when they say something isn't right through the park, listening to your heart when it whispers a dream you've buried under practicality and fear. Listening in this way is an act of self-respect, honors the idea that life isn't random. It acknowledges that there is wisdom woven into your journey, even the messy, uncertain, and painful parts, especially those. Because the truth is, the universe often speaks the loudest through difficulty. A failure might reveal your true calling. A heartbreak reconnect you to yourself. A delay might protect you from a disaster. But you can only see this when you stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is this showing me? One of the most powerful shifts you can make is to stop seeing yourself as separate from the universe. Through the park, you are not just a small part of it, you are an expression of it. The same intelligence that moves the tides, that grows the forests, spins the planets, also lives in you. When you truly grasp this, something profound changes. You stop feeling like a victim of life, and you begin to feel like a participant in a sacred dance. You stop trying to control everything and start aligning with the flow that's already guiding you. To do this, you must cultivate stillness. Stillness is not emptiness. It's laziness. It's not wasted time. It is the space in which clarity is born. It is in stillness that your intuition speaks. It is in stillness that you remember what really matters. Running through the park, you begin to filter out the noise and hear the truth that's been buried under your business. This is where the voice of the universe becomes clear, not in the noise of the world, but in the quiet of your soul. Every step you take, every decision you make, every moment you live, these are all opportunities to listen, not to what is loud, but to what is true. Running through not to what is urgent, but to what is essential. And when you begin to live this way, something incredible happens. Life starts to feel less like a struggle and more like a conversation. You begin to walk through the world with trust, with purpose, with grace. The universe has always been speaking, not to confuse you, but to guide you, not to test you, but to awaken you. And the more you listen, the more you remember, you are never alone. You are always being shown the way. All you have to do is listen, really listen, and let life reveal its wisdom, one sacred message at a time.